Going.
Okay.
I think we're here.
What if we got 100% attendance?
Yeah. Hey,
I've
what's
never
up,
spoken
everyone?
to 21 people at once before. Go ahead, AB. I'm sorry.
What's up, man? Because Wolf's going to keep talking and just having me cracking up. So if I don't at least let y'all know where you are, which you probably do or hope you do, welcome to Creative Journey. Welcome to another episode. I am AB. That is Wolf. What's up, Wolf?
What's going on?
You evidently, man. What else were you trying to say just now? About the 21
I don't know. I thought we were going to talk
21
about the
subs.
Park City Rangers again.
The Park City Rangers. This is not part. See, I know you're doing this on purpose. I know
Didn't you live in Utah for a while? I thought you were a skier.
It's on purpose.
Didn't you join the skier baseball league?
You're going to have me saying Parkside because I almost did. I mean, Park City. I mean, you're going to have me
Plymouth
saying
Mariners?
City. It's Parkside Rangers, man. It's UW Parkside.
What are we talking about today?
Holy cow, man. Well, it sounds like we're talking about hats and Milwaukee Braves and Brewers.
Branding is important.
And branding is important. And I'm not trying to talk about branding right now. I know everyone else likes to talk branding and how to make millions of dollars in 5 seconds.
That's not what branding is about.
I thought it was.
No, that's what snake oil salesmen are about, and they use branding as a tool.
Oh, but I thought the logo is what's going to make me buy the stuff.
No, the logo is what puts a price on the stuff. So because I don't recognize that logo, that hat is worthless to me. If it happened to be the Plymouth Mariners and it was a Cooperstown Classic of the original Mariners brand when they started playing baseball when the Pilgrims came over and it was worn by some, like there's a whole history to it. That's why that Milwaukee Brewers hat with an interesting logo is valuable only to you because you know what the fuck it is. An Atlanta Braves fan could see that and walk right past it, but you would stop because you know what it looks like, and you would say, "Oh, that has value. It has historical significance."
Hopefully, they wouldn't walk right past it. Maybe they would see that it's the red and blue from the Braves, and they'd be like, "Bro, why does your Michigan hat have red and blue in it?"
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Would they be more confused by the colors looking like the Michigan logo without the colors, or would they be more confused by the Braves colors without the logo? I don't know.
So watch this. I had a black and red with the G. I think it was a black G, black with white embossed.
Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia Bulldogs. But you know what people would ask me about that hat? You're a Packers fan?
Oh,
I didn't know you were a Packers fan. I was like, huh? And this is when I was stationed here in Great Lakes, Illinois, on base. So I'm here in the Midwest, and they associated the G with Green Bay Packers, and not oblivious to the colors, that there's no gold or green anywhere in this hat.
So that's why it's a Pittsburgh Pirates hat. Because they associate the logo before the color.
Make it what you want, bro.
It's easier to change colors than it is to change type forms. Font
I guess that's what it is. Is that what it is? I call them fonts.
Sure. Word mark, logo mark, whatever you want to call it.
Got it. So here's the thing. Now that we're on this logo thing, because here's what it means to me. When I see a logo, I only identify with the logo if I identify with what the brand means to me. So if there's not a personal connection to that brand, reminding me of an amazing life experience, maybe I went on a trip, maybe I purchased something and it felt good, or maybe it was just something that's really sentimental to me, and that's what make that stand out. At the end of the day, when I'm looking at something, let's say I'm looking at a shelf of goods in a store at a gas station, we're on a road trip, and I see various bags of chips. Is the local bag of chips going to be the thing that I'm buying, or the local brand that I'm buying? Is it because it's local and I want to support the local brand, or is it because of the colors or the logo or shapes or whatever it is? What is it that's standing out to me about that bag that makes me want to try it? And either the experience is good or bad, and I remember it for it being good or bad.
Mm.
So it's kind of a toss up in the air, because at the end of the day, until the experience becomes synonymous with both a very good one or a very bad, man, I'm getting tongue tied, or a very bad one, do I correlate that to whether I'm going to buy it again or stay the hell away from it? That's what the logos or the brand identity does for me. It doesn't inherently make me buy it because of color science or not. And it doesn't inherently make me stay away from it because of color science. Not all the time, maybe sometimes.
It's a very complex grounds you're walking, my friend.
I know, but that's how complex it is. People try to sell you on the fact that the logo is going to make the brand, but it doesn't until the experience for each person makes them or helps them decide whether they're going to rock with that brand.
Yeah, the famous quote is the Marty Neumeier quote: "The brand isn't what you say it is, it's what they say it is." So it's the associations. It's everything you just mentioned. Because like, for example, I just picked up a can of Community Kombucha. I knew about Community Kombucha before I picked this can up, but I had a brand moment with it earlier in the week because I went to a hoity-toity upscale coffee shop, and it was sitting on the shelf there. And the dude I was with, I just told him about it. I was like, yeah, that's a Chicago brand. He said, is it good? I don't know. I've never had it. Oh, I'm going to try it, he says. And then he gets to checkout and it's $6. And he goes, no, I ain't buying that. $6? Are you kidding me? And he puts it back.
Wow.
So it's an expensive can of kombucha, and it's sitting next to a bunch of other stuff that costs like $3-4. I went to a coffee shop this morning and I just happened to see another Community Kombucha can. I said, hey, how much does that cost? Because we were in Westtown. That's like a higher upper middle class area of Chicago where things just cost more. There's a premium on basically any food products. And so I asked at this now Evanston based, which is also upper middle class in the section I was in, yo, how much does that can of kombucha cost? It's also $6. And so it has a beautiful logo. The logo isn't the reason I would buy it. I would buy it because I understand the value of kombucha in my diet and the quality of the ingredients in the can. And maybe I just want something that's an interesting flavor right now, or somebody told me about probiotics and it says it has probiotics on it, or there's yerba mate in the ingredient list. There are all these different reasons I would try it. But it's that association. The association can't be as strong with a poorly branded can as it is with a great branded can. So now I can see that can out of the corner of my eye anywhere and associate this whole string of stories I just had. And either I think that's expensive as shit, and that's the story I'm going to tell when I see that logo, or I'm thinking that's a high quality premium product, and that's the story I'm going to tell when I see that logo. But the logo association is now embedded into my brain, and they live rent free in the high priced kombucha section of wherever my mental storage is.
Okay. Well, that's the experience. That's the experience and the relationship to how that made you feel and what you remembered about that taste, look, and all of that is associated to say that you'll purchase that again.
It's a shorthand. It's just like anything. The Navy has all of their different kind of like shorthand phrases and like the tattoo culture and all that. It's like it's an inside track to connection or disassociation. If you don't get it, you're clearly not part of the community. If you do get it, you're clearly part of the community, and you've cut out a bunch of noise in the middle about how you're associating with whoever you're talking to or whatever product you're interacting with.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
that's the nuances of logos. At least that's just,
I love it.
Just part of it, man.
I love it.
I don't know. Well, I was going to say, I don't know how we got on that. I know exactly how we got on
Rangers.
That. Park City Rangers, as you like to call it.
But see, now I know what the fuck that is.
I'm glad now you have an association. See?
And if I ever see that, I'm going to walk right up to that person and say, hey, do you live in Park City, Utah?
You know what? I'm trying to think of if they're still there. There maybe it was. I want to say it was Port City Sea Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that is a minor league team. I forget where that is. If that is either a Mariners affiliate, I want to say they're in Florida. I think they're a Mariners affiliate, or yeah, I think they're a
Mariners are in
Mariners.
Seattle now, though. Are they
I know,
kept the
well,
team in Florida?
no.
I know you know that, but I'm just
Well, I'm
curious.
saying, well, your minor league teams can be anywhere. It just depends on what league that they're in. So they can be as far as
Oh, I'm
Florida.
sorry. I was thinking of the Marlins anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah. They could be in Florida. They could be in,
Yeah,
up in New York. Doesn't matter where the team ends up being.
yeah.
Whoever owns the affiliate owns the affiliate. But it's just that's where they're located. But I think they're part of it. I could be totally wrong, but it's all good. That's just my thought process on that right at this very moment. But
That's an interesting string to follow, though, as far as creative entrepreneur. What are the associations your name creates in other people's brains, if anything?
That is.
Because you're attached to a bunch of people, whoever you've ever served, now you have an association in their brain. And if somebody says videographer, do they think of you first? Or if somebody says filmmaker, do they think of you first? And what part of their brain do you occupy for them? How do they talk about you?
That is so interesting that you're saying that. I am not so much so tied to the identity of one versus the other, except for what the work itself entails or the craft itself entails. Now, because filmmaking, is really tied into the storytelling aspect, I feel that I would associate with being more of a filmmaker than a videographer, because I seek to tell a story, to convey a story, versus even as a YouTuber, conveying cinematic styling and some of the other cues that go into videography work or cinematography work, when I'm doing maybe car shows and some of those types of things. So as to who I really am, at the end of the day, I'm I'm just calling myself an artist, man. I'm just a creative. I'm just a creative, really. And I think about that often, even when I look at like Instagram and how you can put your the industry you're in and basically what you do there. And I have oftentimes changed that because I am going through this thing like, who am I identifying myself as? And I'm not really pitching anyone. I'm not trying to have something there specific to have people look for me and pitch my services to. So that's not even what my social media is there for.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing just what I do. And just as a creator and someone that started this with doing DIY, automotive DIYs on YouTube, that's essentially what I'm still doing. And that's what I gravitate to. But I long to tell stories, in the near future.
This goes to son's advice consistently, though. It's if your goal is to get hired for jobs, whatever it might be, I'm not saying that is your goal. I'm just saying if we create the assumption that the goal is to get hired for jobs, you should be communicating, this is son's advice, what they are looking for, not what you want to be identified as, right? So like if you want to tell stories, is anybody going looking for a video storytelling person to be hired? No, they're probably looking for, I need video ads. So you should be promoting yourself as a video ad guy. And the means by which you do that is telling stories. Right.
Yeah.
And you may identify as a filmmaker, but they want a videographer.
They want a videographer because even if they know they want to tell a story, whether that is a testimonial or a story about their brand, most cases they still the terminology that's used is videographer. So they will still be looking for. So if I needed you to find me, even though I know artistically filmmaking is what I identify as. I wouldn't put myself out there as filmmaker. I would have to, in order to draw the business, put myself as videographer. So you're right. You have to know what's your goal, what's your end game, and if your end game is trying to provide services, monetized services, then you need to play the part of identifying as videographer. But if that's not you, you just are in this phase, just into the art. You can be whatever you want to. You can just be an artist. Not have anything up there at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's like this question of like, what's the right and the wrong way to stand out? Because like if your goal is to grow a business, maybe you don't want to stand out as the only person who's calling themselves whatever your business is. You want to stand out in your technique and your work. It's like you want to be easily associated so people understand what it is you do. And then the how you do it becomes the differentiator.
Right.
I'm thinking of like with this new role I started, there is kind of a toss up. It's like, do you want the title to be e-com manager or digital product manager? And I have associations in my brain to both of those titles. And I would much rather be associated to a digital PM title than an e-com manager title. With skipping all of the extra detail. It's just one of those things where when I think about the people I've interacted with in an e-com manager role compared to a PM role, there's a world of difference in the level of kind of autonomy and the value they provide and the way they think about business and the job they do.
Right.
So I would much rather be associated with digital PMs as a whole and then stand out in the way I approach the discipline rather than trying to create some newfangled title that if you ever do a Glassdoor search on it, there's no comparison in the history. So I'm negotiating on air as far as whatever the value of the role is.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. And that, for me, I'd much rather just be considered a creator.
Yeah.
Just call me a creator because I'm enjoying doing this podcasting. I'm enjoying making YouTube content. I enjoy making reels and shorts and vertical content. And at the end of the day, I'm not looking to get hired to do any of this. I'm not pitching myself for any of this. So, and now don't get me wrong. Am I making money from it? Of course, I'm generating revenue from it. But that was from years of understanding how to monetize the channels, the accounts. Yeah, I mean, that's just really where that came from, because just getting it through services, like creating for other people, is one aspect, but there's so many different ways to be monetized and generate revenue. So yeah, I'm making money from it.
Creator is a relatively new title, though. Creator is almost now like social media artist or something. I don't really know what to associate with that. Like, what do you consider
content creator? A lot of people say content creator.
Yeah, but like, what is that? What's the association in your brain to content creator? Is it social media content strictly?
Social media, stuff for social media. And all of these platforms are social media. YouTube, that's social media. IG, social media. Facebook, to me, is social media. At least that's how it started. That's social media, a means of what was that, Harvard? I forget what school it was, but a means of them communicating, and then it branched out to what it is now. But yeah, all of this stuff is social media. So if you say content creator, then that is exactly what this is, and that's what I hear a lot of people associate themselves with. I just say creator because I just identify with that's what at the heart of what I do. I enjoy creating content, and like I said, on a more creative, a more disciplined level, storytelling is it. Therefore, being a filmmaker or making films like documentaries and shorts is my long game. So I do identify myself as being a filmmaker at the end of the day. But right now, I'm just creating content. I'm just having fun.
Where do you think that puts the Felicia Chow's and Matthew Parkers of the world, the people that have found audiences for their art by putting their art up as content, but they are truly at their core visual illustrators, artists in that
Mhm.
way, you know, like,
I
are
think
they
this is
not
just
content creators? Or are they content creators as a means of spreading their artistic practice? Like, what is that?
I don't want to put them in a box because I can't answer for them, but
Sure, sure.
let's just say I made, let's say I did commercial work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I did commercial videos for top brands, local brands
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that we know. And and if I had been doing that, let's say for years, I'm generating revenue from that. And like a lot of people have done in the most recent 5 years, maybe even 10 years, um, decided that, you know what, maybe I do want to mess around with social media. It's not that kind of thing. I know for me, I was very private. So I
Mm.
didn't put a lot of stuff or do a lot of things on social media. So maybe they're in that space too. And they're like, you know what, maybe I should put some content out just so people can see the behind the scenes or get a better understanding of what it is I do, because people always are asking, how do I come up with these ideas to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
make videos for or make commercials for these brands. So
Mm-hmm.
if in turn now you're putting up behind the scenes content, I feel that that person has branched out to using what we would consider content that would already have been made for the job that they're doing, and now giving you a look into their life. If they want to identify as a content creator as well, that's up to them. But at the end of the day, I feel that they probably would still consider themselves a whatever it is, a video production director, whatever that title is
Mm.
that they may call themselves. But again, not to speak for them, that's entirely up to them to decide how they want to be called or
Mm.
be identified.
I guess I'm in like the throes of philosophy here right now because I'm trying to figure, is anybody actually at their core a content creator? Like, is this just, is a true content creator as far as I don't identify as any other kind of practice or medium? I simply create content. Is that just an influencer? Is that just the TikTok folks that are doing reactions to things other people have already created? Like, is content creator just a label put on top to say I'm also active on social media with all the shit I'm doing? Because at the end of the day, I think a
Possibly.
lot of these people are really just artists.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. When
Some
you
of them
say it
aren't.
like that, I think about Mr. Beast.
Mm.
Um, I think about him because he has spoken and talked about the time and energy that is put into
Mm.
the YouTube videos that we see
Mm-hmm.
and have seen over the years. And he talks about, I mean, honestly, it's a full scale production
Mm-hmm.
that you would see, to me, energy put into any television series that we watch.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I follow.
And because of the, the financial capital that's invested, the teams that are put together, the energy that's put into the concept, scripting, research, site, all of this stuff. I mean, all the
Mm.
things that's put into it, or site scouting. That's what I was getting ready to say. But just researching all the things that go into the end product. Um, at the end of the day, you could call him a movie director,
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
movie producer. I mean, all of that, because he's a full scale. His production is full scale, like TV series that we're
Mm.
seeing that take months. And he shared how long some of these videos have taken to
Mm-hmm.
produce. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
like I would say this: content creator, if just solely you're doing content to create content, but reaction videos, I'll say, like you said a moment ago,
Mm-hmm.
I've never done a reaction video, but I could imagine if I'm sitting here watching something on YouTube and I'm recording it live or just recording it, that it takes me the time to watch. If it's organic, I'm assuming, or authentic, I'm assuming that I'm watching it for the first time. And in the length of time that it takes to watch that, I've created content, and therefore I'm putting that out for you to see. Not saying that doesn't take a whole lot of effort, but it doesn't take the same amount of effort it does to create a Mr. Beast type of video. So at that point, I would say, okay, I'm a content creator because I'm just doing reaction videos. Not saying I'm not making money off of it. Not saying I'm not getting brand deals. Not saying anything that you can come up with to say that I'm trying to say. Not you, but just anyone that's watching. That's just to say exactly what I'm saying is I think that is the essence of the definition of content creating.
But so yeah, and Mr. Beast is the penultimate content is the ultimate content creator. Like Mr. Beast is at the top of anything somebody would call a content creator. Right. And to the original point, it's irrelevant if he thinks of himself as that. That's the box he exists in. And this takes me back to, I forget who said this. It's something like, they're going to put you in a box. So you're either going to choose the box you want to be in, or they'll put you in one for you. Because you can't be everything to anyone except maybe your family. And even then, you're not everything. It's when you're out in the world trying to market yourself to be some form of entrepreneur in any way, you have to choose a box, or you're going to get put in a box that you don't choose. And then you're fighting an uphill battle because you don't even know where you are. You don't know what box people are looking in when they go looking for someone like you or for you specifically. So like, I would imagine Mr. Beast as an intelligent entrepreneur is going to say, yeah, I'm a content creator, a multi-million-dollar content creator.
And that's not a bad category to be in.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's associated. We're constantly associating him as not only a content creator, but you know what? I'll take that back. I was about to say we associate him as an influencer.
I would agree.
Well, maybe maybe we do. Maybe we do consider him as an influencer as well.
Yeah. A personality at this point, even.
Yeah.
He's just a media personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's ascended.
Definitely. Yeah, that's the epitome of being a content creator, multi-million-dollar, if not billion-dollar
brand.
I
don't know what that kid is worth. I've also never watched a Mr. Beast video, so I just need to put that out there. I don't even know what the kid talks about.
Well, as of late, and I will be honest as well, I don't think I had watched a Mr. Beast video up until the latter part of last year. And ultimately, I'm trying to think, is there one specifically that I watched? I can't think of what they're called. I did see a couple. I did see some, I guess, like some fun videos in the beginning, some of the first ones. I can't remember what those things are called, but when I think of it, I'll tell you. But it was just a little fun, experimental, like scientific type thing that was fun. But the one that I really liked were the challenges where he would put people in rooms, and it would be like, I think one of the most recent ones I watched was like parents against their kids, and it was who could stay in this space the longest, and basically whoever stayed in the space the longest of the parents or the kids, whoever's left would split the pot, and the pot was like, oh shoot, I can't remember. I'm just going to throw a number. This isn't the exact number, but I'm just going to say $50,000. So whoever's in there get to split that many ways. So if it's 20 left, 30 left, whatever it is, they split. And I think it started off at about, it might have been 100 each side. Like I said, I can't remember, but
either way.
But the goal is he'll do things to lure you out. You know, he'll offer food, he'll offer money, like a cash prize, like $1,000, $500. He had this thing where he's got a suitcase, and if you come out or you leave, you get to open up the suitcase, but it might not be anything in there. So not all the time do you get awarded anything for leaving. But some people, they'll do it just from a humanity standpoint. Like, you know what, I'll drop out so everybody else have a chance to win more money. So people will do stuff like that. So it's fun. It's challenging. But not only, I left out one part. Depending on where you are, there's always a boundary. And the thing about the boundary is, if you step on or over that boundary, you're automatically out. So there are different kinds of ways that people will inadvertently get removed because they will end up crossing that boundary. So you should watch some of those. They're pretty good. And I think the thing about those videos is that, the intriguing thing about the videos is that how you stay engaged. He's understood over the years the ways that we remain engaged with the video, that you watch the entire video. There's at no point in time do I want to exit the video. So if there's a lesson learned, so if there's a lesson learned from watching one of his videos, is, man, what can I do that increases my watch time per viewer to the point that they don't want to leave? Now, again, making DIY videos, automotive DIY videos, I know that the point that I've answered all of the steps, I got my answer. Time for me to go. I got to go work on my car. This isn't an entertainment piece, because
I'm not here to hang out.
Yeah, because when I went looking for a DIY, it's probably in the midst of doing the repair. So I'm going to find out the information I need to find out, and then I'm gone. So I've learned over the years that in DIY videos, do the steps, cut off the video.
Don't keep it going. Challenge is alive. I'm on a bathroom break. Keep going.
Yeah. So with a DIY video like that, I learned to just chop the thing off, because otherwise it's just a huge drop off that affects your retention. But more of the entertaining videos, I just have fun with it, because at the end of the day, I can't make you stay and watch if you don't find it entertaining. And a lot of times, some of the automotive cinematic videos is just practicing a skill set. So I'm trying out new transitions. Maybe I'm just trying the flow of this video with this type of song. I am trying to communicate with people and have them talk and maybe share the story about, maybe it's their first time there, or second time, third time, why are they back, who are they there with, their car, those kinds of things. So it's very, very interesting the ways that he's able to just keep you hooked and entertained and constantly surprised about what is going on. And that's totally different. It's totally different from what I'm doing, because mine isn't just specifically entertainment. His is definitely entertainment, and depending on certain aspects of it, it pulls at your heartstrings. Because I know in some of his earlier videos, I don't know if he does it now, he would, bless people with money, especially if someone that might be homeless, or maybe just not having their best day, things like that. So it's an emotional kind of roller coaster, and a sense of, hey, man, there are good people in the world still, and he's one of them. So I know people identify him as that too. So all I'll say to that is, just know your lane and understand what your goal is, and do your best to stay on track with, if your idea is keeping people engaged, stay on track with keeping people engaged. I don't know what is up with me and my dyslexia type vibes today, because I am mixing up words.
Are you dyslexic?
Crazy. You know what? If I am, I never knew.
No, I don't think you're dyslexic then.
Well, I don't know, because there has been the last couple of years I do mix up stuff gets flipped.
Oh,
But
that's a
up
different kind of
until
problem.
other than when I was in school, my earlier years, I don't know how late the onset can be. I don't recall having these issues. I
No,
might
I
just
don't.
be talking too fast. That's probably all it is. My
Too
brain's
much
moving
coffee.
fast, and I'm trying to. No, this isn't. I haven't even had that much. This isn't 100 cups.
I did.
Yeah. I think I'm just talking fast. That's probably all it is.
Keeping people's engagement. That's the song. What struck me about that whole example, though, is that none of that's like super new, right? It's a remix on game shows. He's taking game shows and put them into YouTube videos, but he's getting everybody that used to be watching evening game shows to just be hyper focused on his shit, where he can actually control the stream of revenue entirely. He knows exactly who his audience is. He has the best data on it. He can advertise precisely to whoever he needs to. He can strike better brand deals because he knows exactly who he's talking to, and he can actually drive results. And then there's even the personal connection where Pat Sajak is Family Feud. Mr. Beast is Mr. Beast. And anything Mr. Beast does gets to go straight through him, not through whoever is paying to produce Family Feud.
Let me say this while you're saying that right now, because you talked about moving people from the old game show. Now, as far as his subscriber base on YouTube, 145 million subscribers.
That's a lot of people.
Let me see if I can get to his videos. The last video, this was $1 versus $500 plane tickets. This particular series, I've seen them do hotels and some other stuff too. 115 million views.
Yeah.
100 million views was another video. I paid a real assassin to try to kill me. 1,000 blind people see for the first time. 133 million views. I mean, okay. From last year, 456,000 Squid Game in real life, 404 million views. Bro, I know there are a few more out there that have a lot of subscribers, but I don't know a lot of subscribers that when people see their videos, it is, I mean, so close to the subscriber base. Like I've seen content creators or YouTubers in this sense with 500,000 subscribers, and they might get 120,000 views. As far as the percentages of people watching their content, it's crazy. It's not even necessarily the number it is, but just a percentage of people watching the stuff. So yeah, he's doing a very good job.
And I do wonder, I don't know that that's a 1-to-1 number, right? Well, so my data brain just kicked in.
Go for it.
His percentage of subscribers per watch might not even be, it could be 50%. It could be that 90% number. I would imagine it's more like 40 to 50% of his subscribers watch the video, and the other 40 to 50, 60 to 50% of that viewer count is just him continuing to excel in catchy titles and getting promoted to people in YouTube feeds. Because like how many, the interesting question to me is how many new subscribers is he getting per video now? What percentage of his subscriber base watches each video, and how does that category breakdown go? Where how many of them tune in specifically for the game show type stuff? How many tune in specifically for the $500 versus $1,000 stuff? And how many are just lifetime fans that just want to show up no matter what because they love Mr. Beast?
I'm sure I'm most certain that his team has.
Yeah, he knows.
Has these numbers, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure he and they know what's working, what's not working. Yeah, I can't even imagine. And then there's so much to that, like you were saying, because again, we're talking retention, we're talking watch time. We're talking where are they coming from, if they're coming from the alerts, if they're coming from another channel or another what am I looking for? Another account, or just somewhere externally. And yeah, like you said, and that's real. A real number also is subscribers versus non-subscribers.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot as far as metrics and analytics to look at to go from there. And yeah, that's nuts.
The hater perspective is he's getting all of these views because the YouTube algorithm is working for him because he's making them a bunch of money. The entrepreneur perspective is he is working the algorithm so well that he gets all of the views and gets to make all of the money. You know what I mean?
How long has he been in the game?
I think 10 years, maybe more.
Okay, so that's first thing. Let's see. About you joined February 19th, 2012. 11. So 11 years. 11 years. And
apparently his first video went viral. Son has said that, where like the reason he was able to stay through and get to the level he's at is because his first video happened to have some level of success. I doubt it's 100 million views, but like he got that first dopamine hit and said, oh, I'm good at this. But even then there's a fine art to everything, right? And I guess I'm just thinking there are people who get real mean, myself included, about influencers. Like, oh, you're an influencer, that's cool. You know, there's that judgment to it. But also when you're a good influencer, that is a talent. That is a skill set that you had to develop over time. And you don't get granted the biggest YouTube channel in history. You work to get the biggest YouTube channel in history, and then economies of scale, it happens to work in your favor. Probably somebody has heard of you or will click on a Mr. Beast promoted video at some point, but he doesn't even need the algorithm anymore. So like if you're a content creator, what's the most important thing? Probably the consistency and testing and being analytical about what you're doing and not being emotionally attached to everything you put out.
There's a lot of what you just said that goes into it. And I'll use myself as an example. There's some success I'm seeing over the last year, 2 years, that I wasn't seeing definitely in the first 3 years. And I'm nowhere near any of these folks, but I'm not trying to measure up to be these folks. I'm just doing the thing that I love doing. And what I can say is you're right, definitely in the aspect of learning from what you're putting out. Well, let me back up. When you put out content and you're making content and you're trying to understand what is making one thing work versus the other, and you study it and you spend time studying not only your performance, but maybe some other YouTubers out there or creators, their performance. And then you got to be realistic. I can't compare me starting my YouTube channel with a couple of subs when I started, and now I'm looking at someone that's got 500,000 subscribers, and I'm comparing what they're doing to what I'm doing when it's just me. And probably by this level, if they've been in it long enough to have a team and everything else that they have that makes that work, because they're not doing everything by themselves, then realistically, I realize I can't compare myself to them. I got to compare myself to somebody else that's just started or been doing it maybe 3-4 years and see what they're doing to make it work and kind of go from there, and then network with people to find out. Because if you're just in your bubble trying to figure it out by yourself, it's not going to happen. But there's a level of dedication that has to be put in this. This is not by no means for the faint of heart when it comes to making YouTube and doing it consistently, because you said that a moment ago. It's the consistency. And everyone that is successful in the world of content creation for YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, they all come back and say consistency, because it's real. It is real. Now, I'm gonna touch on consistency in a second, but consistency means that you continue to do it for the longevity. Not I consistently did it every day for 35 days. I got tired of it because I saw no results and I stopped. Or not because I did it. I posted 10 million things on day 1, 5 things on day 10, one thing on day 17, 20,000. I know I'm using these big numbers, 20,000 things on day 30. What's up? There's no consistency. The viewer can't be consistent on seeing your stuff. So that has been, and I can attest to that myself, because that is a part that has made me understand my journey in where I am. I'm grateful for where I am, and I know I could possibly have been a lot further if I prioritize making this YouTube content more consistently. But for me, my priorities were not making YouTube channels making YouTube videos full time. That just was not my priority. So when I got to making the videos, I made the videos. Like I said, I'm happy about the success that it has now, but that wasn't my priority. So to the point, wherever you are, you have to be consistent to what's consistent to you and go from there. So if being consistent for you is twice a week, then do that twice a week and build up the understanding for your audience to know that, okay, I'm going to see content twice a week, or I'm going to see content once a week. That's the consistency. And then being able to do that over the course of 3 months, 6 months, because 30 days, 45 days, it's not going to get you to even see really anything working with the analytics to even study. So, yeah.
I found that's not enough, though.
What's not enough?
Let me just do this twice a week. It's like it can't really be 2 events a week. It has to be a daily habit that ladders into 2 releases a week or something like that.
Yeah. I think you're going to expound on what I mean. Yeah. I left out a lot, and then in my mind, I'm thinking like 2 YouTube videos, but in between the 2 YouTube videos is, something you post in the community, something, a short or reel, or, there's other stuff that you're doing through the week. I'm thinking the larger piece of production that requires a little bit more time devoted to it. So that's what I was thinking. But yeah, you're right. You're going to expound exactly what I should have said.
I mean, no, and I don't think it should have. I'm just thinking, like, I think I've heard that advice before. Like, you need to find your cadence. And then I think I found my cadence, and something happens in the week and my cadence is screwed the minute I miss one day. And then I'm thinking on the book, Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg. He has a method he calls Tiny Habits. And then there's Atomic Habits by James Clear. And these are just kind of theories on personal change management, I guess, or organizational change management. And the consistency concept there is make whatever you're trying to change, boil it down to a habit that's so small, there's almost no way you can miss, and anchor it into your life. So I've been thinking on this a lot lately. It's like, okay, if I'm going to make content creation a consistent thing for me now that I'm also in a full-time role, what's the smallest possible thing that I can do every day that makes a meaningful behavior that will help me then later succeed in a bigger way with consistently showing up? So like, I have to start at ground zero, maybe even in the basement, and say, okay, what's the one thing that I can attach to my daily routine? Like maybe it's as simple as turning on a video camera. Like, don't even record anything, just turn it on and turn it off. Because then that creates an opportunity on the good days where when I turn on the camera, I say, okay, as long as it's on, I might as well sit down and say something to it. And then if I can do that for 30 days, literally just pressing the button, and occasionally I happen to be motivated enough to then sit down and continue to speak, eventually it will be habitually easier for me to record a video twice a week. And then the next step is going to have to be, what's the tiny atomic habit I can build, tiny habit I can build that gets me to edit it or post it? Or what's the shortcut that I need to, like, do I need to take one action to find a video editor who can take my long rant on a video camera and cut it into a usable form? Then let me do that one time. And I like, it's like this, it's this matrix of things you have to build around yourself. If you're coming from a place where consistency is a struggle, which is a place I happen to come from, I'm very poor with consistency. The only reason I've been able to make it to episode 13 here, I've said this a few times, is because I have you as a consistent individual here at AB to force me to keep showing up. And I have it on my calendar. And I have to think through, okay, am I going to let AB down today? Well, we're on episode 13. We've already been doing it for this many weeks. And there's no daily habit there, but there is an accountability. And it started with low pressure and no need for me to follow up. I just had to show up and talk. And I'm blessed to have you on the other end of this doing the editing work, which is where I get hung up.
Yeah.
I appreciate it more than you know. So it's like, yeah, I guess just thinking through that, it's great advice. Find your consistency, the way you can do it, and make it happen. And then I guess I'm just adding on top of that, don't be afraid to go stupid small to get started if you're stuck on making that change in your life. Because it's not really about motivation. It's about human behavior. We tend to follow the path of least resistance.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying there on the small scale. And then I'll add to that is, or what I'll add to that is, the moment that you realize it's working, then you have to decide, am I going all in? Because that's really, to me, when the success start to take off, or at least has a chance to take off. Because we do say be consistent, and we do say, do the things that you can do. And I think that's just enough that's really just enough to figure out if it's sustainable, if it's something that's actually working. And the moment you start to get the traction, maybe the comments or things that you're realizing that it's helping, then I think at that point you have to decide, okay, this is working. Now, how do I level up? How do I level up? Can I level up? Because if at that point you're not, then the chances of it getting to the level that you really want it to become, or that you think it can become, it can't get there, because you're not giving it the nourishment. You're not giving it the energy that it needs.
See, that stresses me out though.
Why?
I don't know if that's my commitment phobia or what, but like, if I'm getting good traction, I'm gonna just keep doing the same thing, because why am I gonna add stress on top to say, all right, well, now I gotta level up and do an extra however many. I mean, like in some things, yeah. When I was working out for a while, I kept trying to push it. And then I stopped working out, and I haven't been back because I'm afraid to go back to ground zero of being fucking weak as hell and not being able to do the same squat, bench, deadlift that I could before. It's like I went too hard. I hurt myself. I fell out of the habit, and I didn't come back.
That's a different way to look at it. But let me ask you this. I'll bring it back a little bit. You have a service, and in your service, you are talking to, and we'll just say your podcast. We'll say that Feasting with Founders.
Yeah.
So currently, you're episode 3, and very good episodes. And right now, of course, I don't know your analytics or anything like that, but let's just say pertaining to the founders, the business owners, let's say the buzz begins to spread that, hey, Wolf has an amazing podcast. I think you may want to reach out and just share, what you're doing. And that turns into, from whatever it is, I don't know, again, don't know your communication pieces and all that right now, but let's just say whatever it is right now doubles in the next 3 months, 6 months. And then you're doing it by yourself still. And maybe at this point in time, for whatever reason, you've looked into, some brand deals, or maybe some brands just reach out to you, say, hey, we'd love to sponsor an episode. Now you're generating, a little bit of revenue from that. And now the traction is really starting to take off. You've got more guests, you've got more brands that want to talk to you and talk about the stuff they're doing in the community. What are you going to do? What are your choices to do at that point? I think you've got a few, because let's just say right now you're still, you just started your full-time position. And
it's already fucking up my schedule.
Okay. So what are you going to do?
It's already thrown a wrench in the game.
If and when that happens, what are you going to do? Because this is that moment that I'm talking about that happens, that you have to make a decision. And it's all based on what successes you're seeing right now. It can't stay what it is that you're doing right now.
It could. I could just let it simmer there for years and years and years.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm gonna rephrase it. It can. It absolutely can.
No choice is a choice.
It can stay there. If you're entertaining the idea of, I have this full-time gig. I only took this full-time gig to rebuild your capital. And I've got more revenue coming in that will help me rebuild that capital. What's your decision? What do you have now? What do you need to think about?
Well, that's complicated, because in the reality, if we're stepping out of the hypothetical, what I took as a way to rebuild capital, it actually turns out to be really fucking interesting problems to solve. And I was recently put onto this great tagline: I am a solution in search of a problem. So now I have in front of me a well-paying gig with interesting problems to solve, and a non-paying but could be paying gig with interesting problems to solve. It's a very easy decision until such time as the non-paying gig could compete, which I don't think is anytime soon. But that would be the point at which I would have to make a decision.
Right. So that's back to where we started. Huh?
I would kick the can all the way down the road. I would start to take. So here's the real plot in my head. If I can get Feasting with Founders to a point where it is revenue generating, I'm taking that revenue and I'm putting it right back into efficiency in the Feasting with Founders process, so that it is taking less of my time, so I can stay focused on what I'm doing and keep doing Feasting with Founders at a high level, but with
how are
less
you doing
attention drain. Probably hiring somebody.
I think that's called leveling up.
But that's not going all in. That's scaling intentionally.
All in, but okay. I think you're trying to play on my words now. But
when I hear all in, that's a very serious connotation. That's what I'm talking about, commitment phobia.
But got it. But you're still taking the steps to get there, though.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You're taking the steps to get there. But and if I did not, again, this is one of those moments where I think like I said, my brain is moving so fast and maybe my words are catching up. So I'm thinking to the all in portion, but again, to the point of saying you're being consistent with what you're doing, with what works for you. Bless you.
Thank you.
And now, things are trending upwards in a good way, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But you're presented with, all I'm saying is, when you're presented with that opportunity to go all in, you've already been doing the stuff that's leading you to going all in anyway. So once you get to the place that you can go all in, then what do you do? Because at that point, you got to make that. That's when you got to make that decision. And all I will say is, to the point, and you can answer the question in a second, but to the point, in order to, we were talking about Mr. Beast and what he's doing and all of that, but in order to even get anywhere close to that level, you've got to make the decision to go all in. You cannot do it tiptoeing around and still doing the same things that you were doing.
Yes.
To be where you are right now. But if you want to stay where you are right now, then decide to stay where you are right now.
Yeah.
And do it at that level. But those people can't criticize and say all of the things about, oh, it was because of one video or it was because of whatever it was. At a certain point, there had to be the decision to take the risk and go all in. Therefore, the people that succeed and get to the places that they are, for instance, Mr. Beast, fuck the bullshit about the one thing or the two things that it took to make them what they are and the algorithm and all. Whether that plays a point at all now or not, they still decided to go all in when they could have said, no, I'm not going to go all in.
This brings me back to an interesting post by David C. Baker. He was making the point that in a lot of storytelling, the big risk the entrepreneur takes is starting the business or going all in, but it's not actually. The real risk is once you've built yourself to a place where you have a team and you have to deliver to pay other people and you have to keep something going, where you're taking risks on investment of a much higher level than, well, I'm risking leaving my job to go all in on this one thing and really give it all my attention. It's like the real challenge kicks in when you have other people's livelihoods on the line, or when you're holding up other parts of a business with your own business. There's like the level of dedication that you think you need at the start is much less than the level of dedication you need once you're really into it. That's his post. Obviously, I haven't lived that truth. I just think that's interesting as far as like, I don't think of the putting 100% of my attention into a podcast as the risk. I think the risk is after I've been doing it for 5 years and it becomes an institution and I'm beholden to other people as far as expectations and all of that extra shit.
I agree with what you're saying. Apples and oranges, though, because now we're talking risk versus, we're talking risk versus.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, versus the decision to do the thing. So you still got to decide to do the thing to even have the opportunity to be taking the risk.
I would be much more measured in my approach when I'm going back to going all in. After learning what I've learned from this first round, I'm going to go a lot slower. I'm going to make it a lot more intentional, and I'm going to make small, smart bets. And I know you're not saying that I shouldn't be doing that. Nothing you said is exclusive of that.
Right.
But to me, the new concept of all in is when I take that step out to say, okay, I'm going to promise this person a salary because I believe that this industry, this whatever the vehicle is, can generate enough revenue to support both their salary and the continued growth of their business. Like that's the new scary point. Starting is easy. Keeping people employed is a different game.
Yeah. Whatever the factors are that have to be looked at, assessed, and really, really thought out. That's all a part of that decision.
True.
That's all part of that decision. You can't make that decision without entertaining those factors and understanding the risk that is involved at that point. Making the decision to leave, for me, making the decision to get out of the Navy, to go to school, to run a business, to do all of these things, that was a serious decision to make. There were a lot of things in there that I had to consider. I had to consider why I joined the Navy first and foremost. Have I successfully done those things? Have I achieved those goals? Well, going back to school, that was definitely a check in the box. Have I traveled? That was a check in the box. Healthcare, that was a check in the box. Lord, and unbeknownst to me, coming out, I would still have continued healthcare. So huge check in the box. Skills and life lessons learned, all those different things that I wasn't thinking about going in. Some of those things I was thinking about, those were checked. So a lot of the things, if I'm not being true, all of those things that I had going in got checked, of course, plus some. Was I in a position financially to get out? Yes. Why am I staying in? So that was a decision for me and the family to make, to say, what are the risks and what do I get from, or what's potentially to gain from leaving? All of the new goals that were set before me. And once that decision was made, and like you said, risk to the point of affecting somebody else, that affects my family, that affects my son, my wife, their well-being, getting out from having, and I'm gonna air quotes this, a guaranteed check. Ain't shit guaranteed. I don't care what you try to call guaranteed. There are ways to get your ass kicked out of, or people can get you kicked out of the military. They tried it plenty of time. So, but at the end of the day, to think about getting a guaranteed check twice a month versus getting out and might not have anything guaranteed, or even those guarantees change, that's a healthy risk too. But that's a decision that had to be made, and once that decision was made, it gave me a chance to get to where I'm at today. I couldn't have gotten here today if I didn't make that choice to get out then. So there has to be a choice to go all in. There, I couldn't tiptoe. You can't be in the Navy and out the Navy, or you can't be in the Navy part-time. You either full-time in the military or you're not. So no greater example than to say I had to go all in on being a civilian again.
You're right. All in scary. All in scary for us civilians. We're not used to that. I've never signed a 5-year contract for shit.
Oh, well, there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. Man, this was good. This was good. And we did this live.
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 Do it live.
Oh,
Bill O'Reilly style.
Oh, my goodness. See, now here.
Sorry, YouTube.
We know we are coming to the end when we either starting or coming to the end when his marbles are loose.
What? My marbles are perfectly intact. If you haven't seen Bill O'Reilly doing it live, then you don't know what doing it live is.
Then I guess not. I guess I'm gonna have to see that because I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh man, we did a little. We're calling this O'Reilly style. Anytime we go live, this is O'Reilly style.
Okay, well, get used to it.
May Bill's hyper aggressive memory live on. I'm pretty sure he's still alive, so that's probably poorly phrased, but all the same.
Okay, yeah. What glass is that? I see grand.
I don't know, man. Grand new experience. Drink grand. I think it was a brewery in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
No, this is a brand that makes brewery glasses. I wonder if they're still in business. I've had this.
That's a nice glass. Yeah, that's cool.
It's an IPA glass. It's perfectly formatted to capture the aromas.
That's awesome. Gets you the happiness.
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah,
can't put your IPA in the sun because it turns sour. So if you've ever had an IPA that suddenly tasted shitty, it's because you had it in a clear glass container in the sun. Don't do it. Fucks it up.
Okay. Well, that probably explains that years ago.
Yeah. Skunks it.
I had, oh man, I don't know what it was now. I think it's local, a local brew, and it's a what do they call them? It was NA, it's non-alcoholic, but they call it near beer.
Near beer.
Near beer. And that's actually more so than anything. I want to say that's more near beer than NA, because I think it's less than 0.5%. So they're saying there's some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're saying there is some in there. And I think all
That's
of them
true of
have some.
kombucha as well. It has
Yeah.
like some minor amount of alcohol, but it's nothing that your body actually registers.
Right.
Near beer. That's nice.
Yep.
There's a non-alcoholic Guinness out there now as well.
Ooh.
Buddy
I
of
want to
mine
be
been
bloated.
drinking
I
that.
guess I'll drink that.
Yeah, there you go. He said it's like 80% there.
80%. Okay. Yeah. No thanks. No thanks.
Hey, all right. You taking us out? Are we leaving? Is this
man,
over?
let's get out of here, man. Let's get out of here. I think this was
go
a very
eat some
good.
Food.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry too. Definitely a very good episode. Especially a live episode.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mrs. Wolf. Well, actually, Mrs. Howard, isn't it? Is it Howard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
yeah.
is. I
Mrs. Howard.
Actually, but it's
well, you was calling my wife Mrs. Visuals, so. AB Visuals for those that don't know.
Follow him on Instagram, AB Visuals _.
Yeah. ABVIZUALZ _ What's yours, Wolf?
Hit like and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the bell.
Turn on post notification. Ding.
Wolf _ feasting. It's probably going to change because that's a weird fucking handle, but here we are.
Here we are. It works, man. It works, especially chiming in with the podcast. But yeah, man. I think this week we definitely became better versions of ourselves. That is what this thing is all about. The Creative Journey podcast, or the Creative Journey period, is about getting better every day. And I think in the words of, who is it? 1% better every day. Who is that?
Ian Thackra.
That part. Yeah. 1% better every day. And I think we're becoming a better version. I know we're becoming a better version of ourselves every day. And that is our intentions with this.
Thursday was a little iffy, but for the most part, yeah.
You still learn something, man. Jeez.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
I get 100% better every day.
Hey,
hashtag
Wolf
blessed.
Can't be Wolf unless he is Wolf. So
that's true. That. Wow. That's
the
most philosophical shit I've ever heard you say, man.
I'm learning, bro. I'm learning. I've been hanging around you long enough.
You can't be you unless you're you.
That's what's up. Hey, I
share with a friend.
I did good. Thanks, Wolf. Woo-hoo. But hey, man, you guys enjoy your week and just continue to have an amazing creative journey. And we'll see you in the next episode. You guys take care. That's right. Salute.
Save your reels.